You may know that nuggets are made from chickens, but do you know chickens, like almost all birds today, evolved from T-Rex? This may seem far-fetched, but it makes sense if you dissect the 65 million years of evolution. The theory of evolution is an important human concept ranging from a vast history to controversial past. But before we get into that, let's talk a bit of history first. Charles Darwin, the person who catalyzed the scientific theory of evolution, researched the finches and turtles on Galapagos Islands. He noticed a correlation between the big size of the finches and their diet. This led to the conclusion that the birds evolved to better survive their environment. But when he tried to expand his theory to human evolution, controversial argument with the church arose. This resulted in a debate between one of his advocates and the Bishop of Oxford in 1860. This bold endeavor spearheaded the new scientific discoveries relating to evolution. According to a research published on Science Journal by Robert in 2016, it is believed that all organisms come from one ancestor called the last common ancestor, or LUCA for short. Over time, this organism multiplied, and some offspring mutated and gained varying characteristics, which became more specialized in each environment. Eventually, the offspring became so different they were not able to breed with one another anymore, meaning that they evolved into separate species. This resulted in three major domains: eukaryotes, archaea, and bacteria. Eukaryotes, being the most advanced, evolved into animals, plants, and fungi, while the other two branches stay single-celled organisms. Do you remember the chicken and the dinosaur? Well, it is due to the macroevolution. The macroevolution is the change of one species to another, usually taking place over millions of years. It is believed that the few flightful cousins of the T-Rex grew and adapted, becoming smaller and more feathery. According to an article from the Nature Education in 2012, macroscale evolution occurs through four different means. First of which, genetic drift, which is the random gain or loss of genes in a population. For example, if you randomly step on a bug, its genes are lost in the population. It doesn't matter how fit the bug was. A natural example of genetic drift could be a flood. Another mean of macroevolution is gene flow. Gene flow is the natural movement of genes in or out of a population. We could know this as immigration or emigration. For example, a family of penguins might become separated from their flocks and find a new aspect to mate with indigenous penguins. The third mean of evolution is mutation, and mutations are the primary cause of macroevolution. Mutations are a random change in DNA which cause minor different characteristics from parent to child. This minor change can build up and separate populations, leading to different species. The last and most well-known form of macroevolution is natural selection. Natural selection, also known as the survival of the fittest, theorizes that those with flavored traits are more likely to reproduce and pass on their genes to their offspring. The fittest organisms get to pass on their gene traits, while the unfit organisms shrink. This means the unfit dies before they get to reproduce. That's basically how evolution works. So in conclusion, we mentioned Charles Darwin and how he paved the way for new discoveries relating to evolution. We also went over four means of macroevolution and their impact on the history of all species. And finally, please do remember, survival of the fittest implies that most suited to the environment get to pass on their genes to their offspring. So next time when someone asks which comes first, chickens or eggs, you can tell them T-Rex comes first. Thank you for watching, and here is a list of video and images that makes our video possible.